ושפתותינו שבח כמרחבי רקיע ועינינו מאירות כשמש וחי הירח וידינו פרוסות כנשרי שמיים ורגלינו קלות כאיילות. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך אדוני אלוהינו אלוהי אבותינו. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אמותינו. אילו מלא שירה קיים ולשוננו רינה כעמוד עליו ושפתותינו שבח כמרחבי רקיע ועינינו מאירות כשמש וחי הירח וידינו פרוסות כנשרי שמיים ורגלינו קלות כאיילות. אין אנחנו מספיקים.
Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai lai. Please join me. The words are easy. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai 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 lai lai yai lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is so nice to be with you here on this first Shabbat of the new year 2021. I'm Rabbi Michael Weiss. I'm coming to you from my own Mikdash Ma'at, my small sanctuary. That is my apartment. And part of it is that we wanted to make sure our hardworking temple staff had some time off to spend with their families. It's also a reminder that any place that Jews pray can be a house of prayer. And we hope that wherever you are, wherever you're praying from, you feel like you're in the sanctuary with us all together. Throughout the service, you can feel free to join in whatever Hebrew and English that you feel comfortable joining in. There are as many different ways to pray as there are people in a community. Some people read, some people sing, some people like to listen. Some people let their minds wander wherever their minds are going to go. That is all prayer, and only you are going to know what kind of prayer you need tonight. Through the service, I'm going to ask us at times to stand and be seated. My space doesn't quite allow for it, so you can feel free to stand as you are able, comfortable, and as your space accommodates. So as we enter this new year, let's fill it with light and hope as we kindle our Shabbat lights. So get your candles ready, and then we'll sing the blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And then we get our Kiddush cup ready, filled with wine or grape juice to represent the sweetness of Shabbat and the sweetness we want to bring into this new year. Let's raise our cups together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu vacharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. We say lechaim. And we continue our service with Lecha Dodi, that ancient poem that helps us welcome in the Shabbat Kala, the Sabbath bride. There we go. likrat kala pene Shabbat nikabla lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nikabla Shabbat shalom Shabbat shalom Shabbat shalom umevorach Shabbat shalom Shabbat shalom Shabbat shalom umevorach lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nikabla lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nikabla Shabbat shalom Shabbat shalom Shabbat shalom umevorach Shabbat shalom Shabbat shalom Shabbat shalom umevorach. When we embrace Shabbat, Shabbat embraces us, enveloping us in its warmth, filling us with gratitude, giving us permission to rest our weary hearts. It is not that we keep Shabbat, rather Shabbat keeps us. We rise if we are comfortable and able for Baruch, our call to worship. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, 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 yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Adonai Hamevorach Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Vaed Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Vaed. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim, Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. We are seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha Vishinantam levanecha vidibarta bam beshivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beineinecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Together we'll sing Mi Chamocha, our song of freedom. Ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef ele, Nora tehilot osef ele, Adonai imloch leolam vaed. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha, bokei ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze Elianu ve'amru, ze Elianu ve'amru, Adonai imloch leolam vaed. Ya la la la, ya la la, ya la Yai la la la, ya la 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 la. Yai la la la, ya la la, ya la la la. Yai la la la, ya la 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 la. Yai la la. V'ne'emar kifat Adonai et Yaakov, u'gialo miad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. And now we'll sing together V'shamru as we give thanks for the great gift of Shabbat, our day of rest. What's up with my capo? There it is. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We rise now for the Amidah, the central prayer of our service, and we ask God to make our prayers acceptable, honest, and earnest. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atarav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem. Mechalkel chaim bechesed. Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofe cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Micha mocha baal gevurot, umidom elach, melech meimit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. And we are seated. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. And we'll sing now Shalom Rav, our song asking for God's greatest gift, the gift of peace. What's special about this gift is that we're the ones who have to make it happen. This is probably a melody you haven't heard before. Feel free to join in where you feel like you can. But this is maybe my favorite Shalom Rav that there is. Shalom Rav Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam Tasim Le'olam Shalom Rav Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam Tasim Le'olam Ki Ata Hu Melech Adon kol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol eit ub'chol shah v'shlomecha al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. And as we pray for peace to heal the world, we also pray for healing for those who are sick, those who lie on beds of pain, those ailing in mind, body, or spirit. This time, there's someone you're thinking of in need of healing. Feel free to bring them to your mind now. If you'd like, you can say their name aloud in the room that you're in. And all of us will take all of those names into our hearts. Now we'll sing together Misha Berach, our prayer of healing. Misha Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Take a moment of silent prayer or meditation. Say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom. Put that back for now. So welcome everyone to 2021. It is, of course, the secular New Year, and therefore not really our holiday, but it does offer us another chance to reflect on what has been and to look forward to the future. Always a good opportunity. And like Shabbat, it is a space between the old and the new. Now, speaking of the old, the other day, I heard what very well may well be an old saying, although I have not been able to determine its origins. It goes like this: humans are the only animal that can stumble twice over the same stone. I'm going to say that one more time. Humans are the only animal that can stumble twice over the same stone. What does this mean? I'll explain. Let's say you put a mouse in a maze. If it makes a right turn, it gets a piece of cheese. If it makes a left turn, it reaches a dead end. Now, if you put that mouse in the same maze again and again, it's only going to make a left turn once. It's only going to need to get to the dead end one time. Because animals only need to make a mistake one time to learn from it. Put a human in the same situation, however, as bizarre as that may be, and there's no guarantee that they won't try heading for the dead end over and over and over again. We are able to justify to ourselves all of the reasons that something might be different. All of the factors that might have, but probably didn't, change. We could even have someone close to us, someone we trust, tell us, hey, I was in that maze the other day, and if you go left, there's a dead end, there's no reward. And we can still find a way to explain why it might be different when we try it. We are so prone to making the same mistakes. Now, trying the same thing over and over again and expecting something different, some people call that the definition of insanity. I think it's just a part of being human, but it's always a part that we can make better. So this week's Torah portion, Vayechi, ends the story of Joseph and ends the book of Genesis. Indeed, we are in a space between two books, just as we are between 2 years. The story of Joseph and his father Jacob actually have a great deal to teach us about the kinds of patterns that we can find in ourselves. The kinds of patterns we can find ourselves stuck in. Now, I would argue that Jacob is the most human of all of our patriarchs precisely because he keeps making the same mistakes over and over again. So what pitfalls does he always fall into? Number 1, trusting no one until he trusts the wrong people. Jacob schemes and plots against his brother and father and is then fooled into marrying the wrong wife by his uncle Laban, and is then fooled again by his own sons, believing them when they claimed that their brother Joseph was dead. Mistake number 2, playing favorites. Like his mother Rebecca, Jacob picked a favorite child, Joseph, giving him a special garment and indulging his obnoxious dreams in which he sees himself ruling over all of his brothers. This would ultimately lead to Jacob's 10 other sons plotting to kill Joseph, although they relented and simply sold him into slavery in Egypt. How kind and merciful of them. When given another chance to correct his mistake in this week's portion, Jacob shows he has learned nothing. In blessing Jacob's sons, he swaps his hands, placing his right hand on the younger son, Ephraim, so as to give him the better blessing. Even knowing that this kind of subversion of the family order can lead to decades of familial conflict, Jacob cannot change. But there is hope in Joseph. In Joseph, we see someone who breaks those patterns, who refuses to repeat either his own mistakes or the mistakes of his father. While still living with his family as a young man, Joseph shares his dreams of grandeur with his brothers, drawing their anger. But when he finds himself in a position of power over them as a vizier in Egypt 2 decades later, Joseph refuses to let the younger brother rule over the older ones. Now, Joseph suffered a great deal because of his brothers. They sold him into slavery, and as a result, he ended up spending 2 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. And it's only later on that he finds out about the anguish that his disappearance caused his father for years, the anguish that his brothers caused their father. Perhaps Joseph would have been justified in punishing his brothers, in wielding his new authority over them to become the most dominant of the sons of Israel. But Joseph does no such thing. He is overcome with emotion, seeing his family again. And this is the most important thing. As the vizier of Egypt, he sits on a throne high above them, but he draws them in close to him. He puts them on the same level as him, as equals. He is given the chance, like his father before him, to position one brother over the others. Joseph makes a different choice. So what is it that allowed Joseph to grow as an individual? Perhaps it is that he had 22 full years to reflect on his life before his brothers and father were reunited with him. Through forces beyond his control, he was put in a position to reevaluate everything and ultimately decided to make a change. But perhaps people can also make change without disastrous, extenuating circumstances. Maybe there's a way to refuse to repeat our past mistakes without hitting rock bottom. I hope that together this year, we find ways to do that. In this new year, it is upon us to repair and rebuild the world, but also ourselves. This year, we have the opportunity to take the intentional time that we need to look back on who we've been and make choices about who we want to become. None of us are going to be perfect. There will be times that we, like Jacob, fall into our old ways. But we can also be Joseph. We can break those patterns. We can try something different. It is not easy to change, not easy at all. But it's a journey that we're taking with good companions, all of us, together. And in that light, I wanted to share a poem that's meant a lot to me for a very long time. It's sort of helped me on my own journey of change and growth, the kind of journey that we all go on. It's called An Autobiography in 5 Short Chapters by Portia Nelson. 1. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. 2. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I still don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I am in the same place. It isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. 3. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I still fall in. It's habit. It's my fault. I know where I am. I get out immediately. 4. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. 5. I walk down a different street. Shabbat Shalom. So now we just have a couple of announcements. Right after services end tonight, you can join us for our Zoom Oneg. The link is on the website. It's a nice opportunity to schmooze, and you can bring your own nosh. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., we have Torah study, and we will finish the book of Genesis. We made it all the way through, and what a pleasure it was. Next Wednesday, January 6th, is a busy day. At noon, we have a lunch and learn with Howard Kerner on the priests and nuns who rescued Jews during the Shoah. It is sure to be an uplifting presentation on human goodness and the extremes of human courage. And that night, at 7 p.m., we will also be continuing our Schaarai Zedek alumni series with an evening with sculptor Janet Eckelman, whose new piece is featured at the pier on St. Pete's. So that is 7 p.m. over Zoom. You can find information and Zoom links for all of our upcoming events on our temple website, zedek.org. And we navigate ourselves back to our service as we begin to conclude with Aleinu. We rise. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'tet gedula le'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishbechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralenu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu, V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad Ushemo echad. As we begin the journey of a new year, it's hard not to think of those whose journeys have ended and won't be able to continue on with us, and yet whose memories live on in the people that we become and the lessons that they taught us. We think of those who have died in recent days. Stephen Zelanka, Edwina Davis, Diane Hoffman, David Goldsmith, Ron Cherry, Judith Goldberg, Joan Geiger, Rhoda Zussman, Elaine Bryn, Irina Kaskina, Austin Ratliff, Ivan Abrams, Michael Friedman, Carol Rosen-Gray, Max Levkowitz, Arnie Simon, and Andrew Harrow. We also think of those who have died at this time in years past whose yahrzeits we commemorate on this Shabbat. Catherine Tootie Edelman, Marilyn Elizabeth Alden, Celia Altschuler, Lillian Falk Altschuler, Louis S. Augustine, Joseph W. Barber, Marcia Bender, Lilia Bensonoff, Michael Bensonoff, Wendy Benstock, Beverly Brill, Louis J. Buckman, Joan Buser, Claudia R. Coleman, Jonas Karen, Boris Chazar, Dean W. Clausen, Helen Cohen, Robert C. Cotton, Annie Curson, Irving Deitch, Ben Dobkin, Roslyn Etroff, Gary L. Edenson, Betty Epstein, Samuel Falk, Mary Friedman, Myrna Friedman, Nikolaus Harry Garapatridis, Isidore Goldstein, Molly Gerber Green, Robert Greenfield, Marcia Robin Hameroff, Marvin Hirshorn, B.D. Holt, Theodore Jacobs, Alan Kaner, Diana Leibowitz, David Levine, Charles Lewin, Myron Mike Lieberman, Isaac Massa, Martin Meltzer, George Michel, Lucille Minetti, Anne Minko, Ellis Morton, Francis Nair, Herman Pasternak, Helene Present, Ray Price, Rosamond Bobby Curson Price, Frida Putterman, Daryl Scott Reese, Matilda Burl-Fine Richter, Maurice Rind, Jan Powell Robertson, Harry Rome, Maxine Rose, Ruth Rose, Morris G. Rosenberg, Phyllis Roslow, Mary Safer, Robert Salama, Bessie Samuels, Jacob Samuels, Lillian Schonbrunn, Frances Schulman, Gail Schwager, Sarah Mitchell Seinfeld, Irva Senfeld, Pearl A. Shapiro, Morris Shepsman, Amy G. Schimberg, Jack Schulman, Dorothy Sontag, Estelle Kern, Miriam Tarnowski, Sarah Uniton, Celia Wax, Isidore Werbner, Gertrude Weiner, Harry Weiner, Rebecca Wolf, and Maria DeVito Tadone Wood. To those names, we add the names of your loved ones. Let's take a brief moment just to remember those we've lost in their strongest, brightest, and kindest moments. And we hold those memories in our heads as we rise together for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal Shemei dekudesha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say together, Amen. We are seated and we'll end the service where we began, with the same nigun, the same song without words. Because part of starting a new year is acknowledging that we're going to revisit a lot of the same situations that we've been in. But things are always going to turn out a little differently, because we're different, because we grow and change. And I hope that you are excited to meet the person that you're going to become this year. Let's sing together. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Hashem Yisharecho. בתורתך, פתח ליבי בתורתך, ובמצוותיך, ובמצוותיך תרדוף נפשי, עשה למען שמך, עשה למען ימינך, עשה למען קדושתך, עשה למען תורתך. עם רפי וגיון, ליבי לפניך, ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי, עשה למען שמך, עשה למען ימינך, עשה למען קדושתך, עשה למען תורתך, עשה למען שמך, עשה למען ימינך, עשה למען קדושתך, עשה למען תורתך. Oh